Heather, you're originally from Scotland. Are you from a racing family?
No, none of my family are in racing at all, or even horses. My dad he's a chartered surveyor. He has his own company, mainly industrial, so sort of shops and factories and land. And my mother, she stayed home to raise my sister and I, but previously she was a geography teacher in a large high school down in London. So no, yeah, definitely no racing there. Not like Ben.
And what's your earliest racing memory?
I used to watch the racing on television. My dad would sort of have it on a Saturday or whatever. I purely just liked watching the horses, especially in the mounting yard before the race, watching them go around. But I do remember my father took me to Ayr races. I think it was the Ayr Gold Cup, or it was a big day there. It's our local racecourse in Scotland, and I think I was hooked immediately. I came home and I just decided from then I wanted to be a jockey.
And from there you were apprenticed to the now retired Luca Kamani at 16 years old. Tell us about your racing career.
So I left home at 16 and I went down to the British Racing School, and after I graduated there I got an apprenticeship with Luca Kamani and I stayed there for 4 years, riding as a jockey around the UK with moderate success. It wasn't very good, but he was a huge influence in not only the rider I became, but the person I later became. He was very, very strict, very harsh, very old school, but that was his way of teaching, and he does it because he cares. I got into trouble a lot, but it was good for me in the end. He was just very big, especially on manners and how you are representing not only yourself but also the stable at the races, just from proper greetings to owners prior to the race, to small things like saluting your cap when you have a winner, always having shiny boots, just little things like that. He was fantastic, and he had some amazing jockeys go through his ranks, and I was very grateful. And after my time there, I went to Italy to ride at a large training and breaking centre. I picked up a second language there, and I went on to America, where I lived there for 2 years. I was mainly based in Kentucky for 8 months of the year, and I would spend 4 months of the winter down in Florida. I worked for Ian Wilkes there and his assistant trainer Carl Nasker. And I met some wonderful people there are the friends for life, and just fantastic characters, and learned a huge amount, especially about time and pace. And American racing is hugely different to British racing. So it was, I'd been to America before, and Luca Kamani sent me to New York as a 17 or 18-year-old to learn time and pace. But I wasn't there too long. I just spent a few months of the winter out there, so this was a longer stint for me. And I then came back to the UK after my time in America, where I then worked for John Gosden for another 4 years, where I would ride out for him in the morning, and then I would go and work at the local equine hospital, Rossdale's, where I trained as a veterinary technician for another 2 years, just to pick up a bit more knowledge of the horse outside of racing, and also as a sort of backup qualification to have in case I couldn't ride any longer, which worked out well for me because when I was in America I had a terrible accident. I broke my back shortly after crossing the finish line working a horse. I was almost paralysed, very, very lucky. And I rode for several years after that, but slowly, as I sort of grew older, and I think a bit of arthritis is setting in, my back became incredibly sore. So I had to hang up my boots in 2017, I think, where I no longer ride race horses. It's too much, but I can ride the odd horse, so that's all right. But I'd also go out to Japan every spring, riding the breeze up sales there. So the Japanese racing is something that's always really interested me. So it's a fantastic country as well. So it's great to get out there and get involved with the people there.
Looking around me, I can see an array of animals on your property. What do you actually have here?
So we've got 2 dogs. We've got Hodor, who is a Maremma sheepdog. He's a livestock guardian dog. So his job is to guard our chickens and our poultry and keep them safe from the foxes. Maremmas are used as a non-lethal form of predator management. They won't go after prey, they won't go after foxes specifically to kill them, but they would rather just bark to warn them away. But if something does come onto the property and is refusing to listen to his warning barks, feral cats also, you'd probably get him, but luckily most animals are not stupid, and they take the barking and they go in a different direction. But he's also sort of half a pet as well. He does enjoy sleeping on the bed and the couch, especially on these hot afternoons, but he's a fantastic dog. And we've got Frankie. He's actually my dog, but he's a family dog. He's travelled the world with me. I got him initially when I was living in Italy as a young pup, and he's got a better passport than most people. He's been to Switzerland, France, Germany, England, Scotland, Wales, all the way now Australia, and he'll be coming on 13 soon. But he's a great dog. And we've got 2 cats, Bagpuss and Princess, and chickens, ducks. We had guinea fowl, and we've got 3 good goats, Rosie, Cadbury, and Betty. An old shoplifter is now retired out in the paddock with us.
So now you're a mother. How has that changed your role within Brisbane racing?
I'm definitely a lot more hands off with the horses. I used to spend a lot more time with Ben. We'd go to the races together, and I'd strap, or I'd go to the stables a lot more and maybe help muck out or just get in the way, whatever. Now I do all the office work, all the admin, speaking to owners if they have concerns about something other to do than with the horse, and we'll talk to Ben about that. But definitely more office work for me. But I do go back to the stables some afternoons with Ben. I'll bring the boys, so we'll have a sort of family day doing the evening stables. So I still do see them sometimes.
Well, who is your favourite horse at the stables?
Oh, probably not like to say. I think there's probably Windforce. Well, there's Gorgon Express as well. I've known Gorgon since he was a yearling. But despite my best efforts of trying to get him retired last year, when he was going no good, that's thanks to Ben, who stuck by him and kept him in, and he's come around and proven to be an amazing horse for us to keep. So definitely those 2, I think. When you spend so many years working with these horses, you form an amazing bond with them, and they become like family members. So I'd say I love them all.
You are very dedicated to the retirement and rehoming plans for your horses.
Yeah, I think it's something that's incredibly important. If you're going to train these horses and work with them, you need to be involved in finding them some sort of care if you're going to retire them. Any horse that has previously been through our stable that we have trained is always welcome to come back, no questions asked. We will find him a home or a retirement plan, whether it go on to doing another discipline, jumping or dressage or whatever, or being someone's pet and living out in a paddock. Racing Victoria itself is hugely involved in finding alternate careers for these horses after they finish racing. Australia does lead the way in that department. There's a huge amount of resources that go into helping these horses and the aftercare. It's definitely something that can always be improved, but we're light years ahead of many other countries in that department. And you die every time it's on, slowly, and I just think it's the best thing ever.